Hey y'all, hey, I'm back. So today's gonna be a little different. Um, God's wanting me to share my testimony, and I had put a video out previously, but I still wasn't in the right mindset um, to eloquently share. So um, God, please be with me in sharing this video. May you receive the glory that you seek. And in Jesus' name, amen. So, I started this YouTube, I want to say like 6 years ago. And what was on my heart when I started it was, I think I even said it, and I had it on my introduction, but it's changed since then. But that my video was to seek the lost, loveless, and broken. And brought me right back to that today. That literally was playing in my head, and I seen my introduction to be that's where I'm supposed to be at. That this is what this was about. And look at the sun coming out. Okay. God, you are so good. Anyway, I mean, it's a beautiful day either way. Whether the sun shined or not, it was still a beautiful day. But anyway, so I guess we can just start from the beginning, right? So this is in my time of now and reflection that they say God chose you before you're in your mother's womb. And looking back, the enemy's been trying to take me out since birth. I was in the hospital from birth, from just dealing with blood disorders and jaundice and just a number of things that I couldn't go home. And I was in the Ronald McDonald House. And just as growing, I never took those things on that I was sickly or any of those things. I was an athlete. I was a rambunctious tomboy little girl, and I was gonna live my best life. Okay, I was gonna have fun. I was gonna enjoy, and the enemy just kept attacking me in different forms and different ways. And from when I was a little girl, and I can't quite remember the age. I'm not even going to lie to y'all and say what age it was. But I know it was before 5 because I wasn't in school yet, that I began getting molested. And it put a stain on me to feel like, why is this happening to me? If it's something, that I can't even understand or rationalize, why is this happening to me? And as I grew, it continued to happen for years. And it had put something in me to accept things that when other people came and it was happening over and over again, I don't know that I had the shock value I should have anymore, that my reaction wasn't the same. I was already groomed to be quiet and stay silent about it, that it just became a part of me. And as I began getting older, I just took on the tomboy phase as something that to guard me. If I could be one of the boys, if I could be as tough as one of the boys, if I could beat the boys, then I could take some of my power back. that I could, whatever was luring them, that it would take the attraction away, that it would take, that it would make me literally one of the boys. And I grew and I got older, and I began playing sports and just became real competitive. And I just wanted to cover up my beauty, cover up my femininity, cover up whatever it was that they were trying to take from me. And at that point I felt like they had took it from me. My innocence, my joy, and I would sit around, and my mom said I was like a real independent kid. And it wasn't independence, I was guarded. I wanted to protect myself away from all the pain. And on top of all of this, my father had left. I want to say I was probably maybe 9, 10 years old when my father left, and dealing with that on top of everything else, just him leaving us. My mom became really depressed, and my mom was a disciplinarian before, but my father being gone had put a rage in her that I felt no protection from. And it hurt me so bad because my dad had always had jobs. Well, not always, but majority of our lives had jobs where he would be away. So I was very helpful to my mother. I would cook, I would help clean, I would do whatever she needed me to do, walk to the store. Like I felt so hurt that she had so much anger towards me because I felt like I would have did anything for her. And her depression worsened where we wouldn't see her for days. And all of it just took something away from me that I wasn't here to be loved. I literally began to call myself loveless. And be very careful the word you speak over yourself, because I began walking into that. I began growing and feeling like nobody loved me. And with my dad leaving, we were always in a church, but with my dad leaving, my mom turned her energy like full throttledly into the church. And it just wasn't what it should have been. We ended up being taken away from home for the church being a cult. And my family was so engraved in it that when we were taken away from home, there was a non-contact order and we weren't able to talk to anybody. We weren't able to see anybody. So I lost my family, whole family in the day. There were so many things wrapped up to that, and maybe I'll make another video about that later, but it put me in a place where now I was just afloat. Me and my sisters went into foster care together. My brother had been taken away before we left home. We went to pick him up from school and he was gone. And we're 7 years apart, and I just felt that the last thing that I could love full-heartedly was gone from me. You know, kids have an innocence about them. There's nothing you can do wrong. They're gonna love you. And it really broke my heart. So we go into foster care, and I think everything I was feeling, I felt relieved. I used to pray when I was younger, like, God, please take me away from all of this stuff. Because as loveless as I felt, I always knew God. I would just be crying at night and being like, God, please get me away from here. Let me know love. And going into foster care, I felt the day we got dropped off, because my mom had to take us, I felt a relief of just being away from the pain. You know, the molestation, the abuse, and even the critiques I was getting from the church. You know, I just wanted to be away from all of it, because nothing felt with love. And the first night we went into the group home, my sisters cried so hard. And I felt guilty. I felt guilty, like it was my prayer that took us away from something that they needed so bad. Like, I had been praying for years to be away from it. And it put a sadness in me. Not that I felt like the things that had got us taken away I had anything to do with. But maybe I wanted to be away from something that they didn't. You know, it is all that we knew. And going into foster care, being around strangers that have no connection to you, I did long for the enemy I knew. So, we went through, I think after the first group home, we went to, they sent us something to a place in the middle of nowhere to break the mind control of being in a cult. So that way we didn't call anybody or tell them where we were at, you know. Just to break the notions of, like, that's the right thinking, you know. And we went into another group home after that, but it was more like, it wasn't a group home. It was a lockdown facility. And because of our age and maturity, all of us got separated. And, people, it's hard for people to understand how you're in foster care, or maybe, don't believe that we went into foster care so, of the age we did, that they were prepared for the worst with us. And it's hard for people to approach you just as you're bad, you're wrong, But God always was in the works of it being lighter. There was people that worked there that looked after us, that made sure that we had meetings to see each other and spend time together. And I was grateful for that. After we left there, we went into a foster home together. Well, me and my sisters anyway. And I wonder why they chose that place, Come to find out, my dad lived there, and we didn't know. And he had came to visit us when we were in the locked up down facility. And I would ask him about my brother, and he would say he didn't know. But come to find out, he was living with them when we moved there. When we moved to Elyria. And it just felt like another betrayal. Because why would you keep us wondering or worrying when you knew exactly where he was? They start slowly transitioning us to live with our dad. And I was the first one to move in with them. I don't know why they wouldn't let us come, other than my dad and his wife needing to adjust to having us again, one at a time. But I began school. I think the next year I began working. And I just felt an emptiness, And I was still being one of the boys, I was a ponytail, sweatpants, Nike flop kind of girl. But I began attracting people. And it caused me to get jumped from one of the guys that liked me. I guess he had a girlfriend. But I started feeling a worry of being inexperienced, or actually I believe it was more of me wanting to put the fear of sex behind me. Just get past that point. When I was in my senior year of high school, I lost my virginity. And maybe it was my junior year. I lost my virginity. And I told my best friend about it, and she like walked up to the guy that took my virginity and was like, "Did you make her do that?" Because I wasn't. I never talked about it. I never, was like talking to her about guys and wanting to do that. So she was like real protective about it, and he didn't even know that I was losing my virginity because I was so outright about it happening. Like I just wanted to get it behind me, so I wasn't talking like, "Oh, it's my first time." I was kind of like, "Yeah, let's go do this," and crazy, man. But luckily, it was with somebody that really cared about me at that point, because my boyfriend, I mean my husband, asked me when we were dating, had I felt like I was in love again before, and I told him only to the point that I love myself. I love them because they met me where I was at, that I didn't have to love full-heartedly, or all our trauma was just meeting us where we were at. So I cared about them to the extent of love I knew. And from there, I wanted to go off to college, and he wanted me to stay. And me leaving hurt something in him, that he cheated on me. Y'all excuse me eating these mangoes, but I gotta get this in. And I did cut the seed out so I didn't eat it like I normally be eating, so y'all wouldn't be distracted, but I might still be distracting y'all with this, excuse me. And the care I felt like he had for me, his cheating was such a betrayal that I didn't care about relationship anymore. I'm like, people want to use me for things. I want to just use people for things. Was that real now when I reflect back on it? No. Is that how I felt in the time though? Yes, it was. And I just went on a path of destructive behavior. I was drinking, I was smoking, trying to numb myself, trying not to care, trying to let my conscience be smothered down, so I didn't have to feel guilty about the things I was doing. Didn't have to think about whether it was right or wrong, the way I was giving away my body. To not think about that they didn't love me. To just be in the act of connecting with somebody and not giving too much thought of the ramifications it might have on my life. I went into that to the point where I had got a sex buddy, and that went on for years, on and off. I don't want to give too much time to this, but I gave myself away in ways that I shouldn't have. And reflecting back on it, if I could stop a young girl from giving herself away and not giving thought to what she's doing because the pain she's in, it just adds more pain. along, I'm in college, doing the wrong things, uh, broken, feeling loveless, uh, feeling abandoned and neglected, and raising hell, okay? I was very confrontational. Would be, I wouldn't say I was easily, pulled into a fight, but once I got there, I was on your neck about it for a while, okay? Very confrontational. Had lost all essence of femininity. And was struggling really bad. I was struggling really bad at that time. I would have sex and be with people, and then be with. I'm talking to y'all, probably think it's a huge number, but just the same people, not loving me, and giving myself to them again and again, knowing that there was no benefit other than that moment of me not feeling by myself. And I would just cry to God about why I'm here. Why? Yeah, why? I blamed God about my church hurt, why my parents did what they did, why I felt alone. And I just kept on trucking, I guess, trying to, got to a point where I'm like, I hit my 23rd birthday, and I woke up just in tears, just thanking God for keeping me alive. I was in a place where I had no regard for myself. And on my 23rd birthday, I just cried. Like, thank you so much, God, for keeping me alive. I know I'm here for a reason. And from here on out, I'm going to try to live lighter. Just be better. Be who I didn't have. And I began to be that to the people around me. But I was still drinking and smoking, trying to suppress it. And I was living recklessly still. I was drinking and driving. And when I was saying that, I mean like I was at parties doing partying, drinking a lot, and then driving home on autopilot some nights. And years after that, I was literally going on road trips, drinking, smoking while I was driving. And God just started getting at my neck. Okay. God just started getting at my neck like, you know better. You try to blame that nobody taught you, and nobody's here to show you, and nobody's guiding you or giving you direction and teaching you. But I put better in you. God started showing me like, I have been here putting better in you. You know better. Your conscience was telling you you knew better. It was me telling you you knew better. God just started getting on me about the choices I was making and why I was making them. And I'm just like talking to him like, you don't understand this. You don't understand what it's like to be down here and don't got nobody that cares about you. You don't understand what it's like to not hear from your mom and dad checking on you, making sure you ate, making sure you're safe. You don't know what it's like to be surrounded by people and feel so lonely. You don't know what it's like to have an idea of changing things and have nobody to talk to that sees it being real. Like your God. Using us down here and it's cruel. You got people that admire and love you and you get admiration all the time. I can't remember the last time somebody spoke good into me unless it's me doing something for them. I would give and give and give past what I had, just so people could know that there was something important in me. I'm like, God, you don't know what that's like. And God started showing me, like, you have no idea. I made all of y'all and all y'all treating me like this. You going through all those things feeling like you were alone and I protected you from death. I protected you from yourself. And you sitting here giving me grief. You sitting here just not ready to hear me saying, turn this thing around. And even when I started listening more and being like, okay, yeah, I don't need to just be doing this. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong in my day that I just need to be smoking all the time. Nothing's going on that I need to be drunk on the weekends. Like, okay, I'll clean it up. Cleaned it up some, Cleaned it up so I could hear him more when he was talking. I wasn't just crashing, blacking out from being high or drunk, That he could start talking to me in my dreams. And going back and forth, trying to clean myself out. I had went to Europe, quit my job at the post office, went to Europe and was just like, okay, I'm somewhere that I don't speak the language, that I gotta stay focused. And I didn't, I got around, found some Africans that was on what I was on, and, I was drinking and doing the most. And dealing with somebody that was lying to me. He had been married, had lied about his age, lied about having kids, just weird stuff, And so I'm like, God, what have I done? What have I done and this is my life, I'm talking about doing something that nobody had done around me. I'm living in Europe complaining like, what have I done, to deserve this stupid life with stupid people coming around me and want to do stupid things. And I ended up leaving there, ended up talking to somebody. I was from Atlanta, he was some of y'all might know him. His name is Yada, and he was building a village in Ecuador. And I'm like, well, maybe that's my problem. America crazy. They making all these crazy rules. At the time they was pushing for people to be able to be with children. They had made a little emblem with the grown man, and inside it was the little kid glowing with their heart, talking about, they trans age or something like that. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's your problem. America crazy. You just need to get out here, go to the village. And because I had hit a point in Europe anyway, I'm like, girl, there's nobody that relate to you here. You can't have regular conversations. I'm going through this crazy stuff with him. I'm like, yeah, let's go to Ecuador. I go to Ecuador, and I was just, relieved that I could go somewhere and find peace. Everything had been just so crazy. I'm like, I'm about to go out in nature, eat naturally, clean my body out, clean my mind out, clean my spirit out. And there's other people that's trying to do it. It had been so long that I had just been seeking for people to be on the same page. So I get there, and I actually ran into somebody that was going in the airport. I don't know what drew me to him, but I felt like he was going where I was going. And I talked to him, and he was, and he was from Chicago. And so I'm like, well, at least I ain't got to walk in there alone. Somebody is coming too when I'm coming in. So whatever, we first learning it together, It was very strange, okay? But, I ain't know no better. I ain't know how conscious people were, or how they got to that. There was another girl there, and she was pregnant. So I'm like, oh, she out here and she can do this. I can do this, And the first day we were out there, they had like this pyramid outside, and they were like, yeah, you gotta just clean your body out. Y'all gonna be fasting. And so we go in there, and it was me and him together, because we came in, we doing our cleansing together. So I'm still happy about that I'm not by myself doing it. And they brought us some they had whipped up something. Yada had whipped up something that he's giving us. There was this other dude there, and I can't remember his name, but it's probably because, when things are past, you ain't supposed to be holding on to them. So we had, I'm watching him, he drinking it, I drank it, and it kind of felt like it was, I don't know, whatever it was making me feel, I wasn't trying to feel that, So it was like, just relax. I'm like, nah, it was hot in there and everything. I was in there doing yoga, stretching. I was like, whatever this is, I'm about to sweat this out my body. I'm about to sweat this out, because you're not about to knock me out. I ain't for the okie doke, okay? So I'm sitting there in there just to sweat, and dude, like, I ain't never seen nobody doing so much on this stuff, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, nah, I gotta get this about my body. So we get through the time we were supposed to be cleansing or whatever, and we go into like the main housing quarters. And right off the bat, things was getting weird, but I guess Yada had got into it with the girl that was pregnant there. She's still a friend of mine, but I don't know if she's trying to be put out, so we ain't gonna use her name in this. they had got into it because he was saying like she was like trying to record coming in, her, kind of just keeping a video journal or an audio journal, something like that, of coming in. She said she liked the meditation things, and he felt like the FBI was on him or something like that, so he didn't want her to be recording. So like they had got into it, and I felt that energy. That's something that I've been able to feel the room. People say read the room, I can feel it. I walk in, things is off, I'm like but I felt that, and I'm like, well, you supposed to be the peaceful one. What's going on? I ain't say that, but I was thinking that. She had told me what happened, so I'm like, okay. I guess I understand, because I came from my situation, and they was feeling like the feds was watching and everything. With the coat situation, that they was watching and listening and trying to be on their back. So from that perspective, I understood. Like, okay, I guess that would make him uncomfortable. But if she said she wasn't doing that, she ain't gave me no bad energy. So I'm gonna believe that that's what she was doing. And but I was like really walking into the process. I was starting to feel good. My body was detoxing out. We was able to pick mangoes from the trees and stuff. We was eating fresh foods. So I'm like, I'm gonna really just try to dive into this process. We was doing meditations, and I was feeling the meditations. I was starting to like deal with some of my grief, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still dealing with pain from me being a little girl. I was seeing that when I was meditating. Like, dang, I'm struggling, So I'm like really feeling the meditations, letting stuff out, journaling, and I started really getting the vision of the land and stuff, So I'm like, okay. But one night it got super weird. He like busted in our room and was like on the phone with somebody, or he had just got off the phone with somebody, and it was her child's father. And I didn't know. Maybe she did tell me, but I don't know that I knew until that moment that she had came from somewhere like where we was at. Her kid's dad was somebody that was in that community realm, whatever you want to call it. He was like, yeah, I called him and told him, calling him out his name, saying how he wasn't no man because he was about to birth his child out there, and that he was going to raise him and all this. And it was like, oh, this ghetto. That's what I thought. This real ghetto. And I'm getting woke up out sleep with this. Like, this is super ghetto. Like, why? You supposed to be the peaceful person. And, hey, it's super messy that you even made that phone call. That was super messy. And she confused. She don't know what's going on. She don't know why he telling her that, or, because she just trying to get back to her little peaceful place. Whatever happened between them, she left it alone, was trying to refocus. And he just was like, yeah, I told him I was about to have your baby out here. And I was thinking about that too. Like, now I'm trying to go on my own natural birth journey, but then I'm like, we in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if it's sanitary for you to have your baby out in that jacuzzi thing out front that he talking about. It don't look like they don't wash her or nothing. I don't know about this girl. And he was being super messy, so I'm like, I wouldn't want to be having no baby in that energy. So she was like, yeah, it's getting kind of wild, was feeling away or whatever. And I don't know how long from then. I feel like it was the next day, but maybe it was a little bit longer than that. That he was like, she gotta go, He kicked her out of there. It was super bad energy. And we had already been talking about that there was a girl that was there before us. And her stuff was out behind the house that we was staying in, and you know, it was just weird. You know, her stuff was like stuff that people wouldn't have just left. You know, like, yeah, stuff that people bought and would want with them. You know, and I'm like, man, got my mind going like, what happened with her? But a bunch of weird stuff was going on, so you know, there was enough turmoil to be trying to throw sticks in the fire. So I was just observing, you know. So I was talking to the other girl about it, and you know, she was like, yeah, something had to go wrong, you know, for her to leave all this stuff, because she, you know, I've never been a makeup person or nothing like that, or you know, no brands and stuff like that. So she was like, yeah, no, nobody would have just left this, da 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 da. And so I was like starting to feel weird, and then you know, they fell out, and he like just kicked her out. She pregnant and everything. He like, just get out of here. I'm like, you about to just kick out this pregnant woman with nowhere to go? You know, like, there was like a little taxi station up across the street, but you know, she's very educated and stuff, so she probably was fine. But you know, I ain't know that she could speak Spanish or not to get herself back or whatever. And the other thing was, like, we was supposed to be coming out there to like to help start whatever was going on, you know. So I wasn't thinking too much about money or nothing like that. You know, we supposed to be eating from the earth and stuff like that. We did make some store runs or whatever, but you know, he was really pressed about like donating whatever I could to the cause or whatever, you know. And I'm going to get this donation, you know. And I'm like, I only got like $100, you know, because I had been on my own since I was 16, and we not gonna play boo boo the fool, okay? You know, one thing I did learn, you know, I've been on my own for a long time, was this boy had come around. So it was like, make sure you can get yourself home. That is something I learned early. No matter what's going on, Tasha, make sure you can get yourself home. I'm in Ecuador, you know, I was hoping everything worked out, but just in case, you know, your girl gotta stay ready, so you ain't gotta get ready, okay? So I'm like, oh, I only got like $100. And so he sent old dude to take me out and get the $100, and I brought it back or whatever. And you know, I'm like, yeah, I just flew here from Europe. You know, I just flew from Ecuador from Europe, so that really tapped me out, you know. So go on, whatever. Back to the day old girl got kicked out. I'm like, this is really weird. Like, you supposed to be this person that's helping us with healing, and you seem like a little unhinged. That's what I felt like. You seem a little unhinged. So yeah, you seeming a little unhinged. So he goes, and you know, they go through that. He go to his little house, and at this point he has sent like the men that was there down on their nature journey to the wilderness, to the woods, to, you know, coming to themselves. So they out, they gone with a tent, and now she gone. And I'm like, what in the world? So there was supposed to be another girl coming, and I'm like feeling real weird, you know, feeling like, okay, Tasha, your spidey senses is tingling. Maybe you need to get up out of here too. Like, maybe you should have left with old girl, right? But I'm like, there's another girl coming. Maybe it'll all be cool. It wasn't. Old boy came back that night, and he was like, came in the room and was like, you know, saying he was like trying to show me how to prepare a meal or something like that, you know. And it was weird, but he up in here now, so I'm about to get up, you know. And so he get up and he was like, oh yeah, come over here so I can get the stuff I need, you know, because we ain't have really included our stuff. He was like preparing everything because we ain't know what he was doing, or he was trying to give us what he wanted us to have, whatever. So we walk over there and it's already getting weird. As soon as we get out there, it's raining. He like, let's dance in the rain, let's dance in the rain. And I'm like, in my head thinking like, yeah, oh boy about to get on one. You know, I've lived life, been here before, right? So we go over to his thing. He kind of living it up. That boy, you know, we supposed to be fasting and doing this stuff. He drunk when he come over there. And he like, that he had just came back from the club or something, you know. Maybe he told me that later, but I'm feeling like he on one, right? So we go over to his little hut, and he got electronics and all kind of stuff, and we supposed to be fasting, but now he trying to eat, and I'm like, what is going on, you know? So we get the stuff, we go back. He is showing me how to prepare the meal, but he like getting on one, you know, and he had like, he asked you all these questions, you know, but first day I felt weird with the old girl, you know, so some people call it lying, I call it protection. I ain't tell everything, you know. He asking questions and I'm like, nah, I don't do that, you know, not sharing all my past, you know, because I seen what was going on with them. I'm like, yeah, no, bro, I ain't about to be using stuff against me because that's weird. And so he like come back to where I'm staying at. And he like, let's smoke, you know, trying to get me high, trying to get me off kilter, but I was already a smoker. He didn't know that, but I did, you know, so I'm playing. He's sitting there talking, and I'm just like watching him, and he like asking me what I came down there for, you know, and I'm talking to him like I was when I was coming, like I'm trying to get healing, I'm just trying to get to a better place so I can do what I need to do, you know, live a better life, you know. And he like, I'm trying to start a village, I'm trying to have these babies. And I'm like, well, okay, bruh, you should have just posted that. There would have been some ladies down for that, you know. There's girls that just would have been down here to come have sex with you and have kids and start a village. But I thought we was really building a village. I came down here for work. I didn't come down here to have sex with you, like. And so he got salty, like he was like, I was just at the club, all these women on me, da 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 da. I could have had any of them. And I'm like, okay, bro, you should have brought them back. Like, you should have did what you could do here. Like, I don't know why you trying to convince me now. You could have did that. And so he got real salty and was like, clean this up. Now he real dismissive, you know, trying to talk to me all hard, walk off. And I'm like, well, I don't care because I'm about to be up all night because what you own, I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. Bruhs is down there finding themselves, and you ain't about to catch me slipping. So when he left, like when I was growing up, my grandma had roaches, right? So they have always been a cringy thing to me. So I'm talking about the whole time I've been there, I ain't seen nothing. Right after he left, and I'm sitting there thinking in my head, a big old cockroach came across the counter. And I'm like, yeah, I'm about to have to be out of here because this is a sign. This, you know, that's my cringe, you know. So if that's happening up in here, I'm going to have to get up out of here because it's already off. I already knew I should have left the old girl. I didn't. Now I need to figure out what's moving, you know. So I cleaned up the kitchen. I ain't turned the light off because I ain't want him to know where I was at in the house. I want him to think I was sitting right up in that kitchen thinking, you know. So I go back in the room, lock the doors. I don't know why I didn't lock the doors anyway, because we should have started locking the doors after what happened with old girl with him coming up in there. But anyway, so I locked the door. He come knocking on the door asking why the door is locked or whatever. I'm like, bruh weird, you know. So I go to sleep, my dreams is crazy, and I don't know if it was from the weed he gave me or what, but I'm talking about, I'm seeing all kind of stuff, everything flashing in me to get up out of here. It was it was God. Okay, God was all up in my dreams, like, girl, when you wake up, get your stuff packed up, get up out of here. And I was really like battling with myself because the girl that was coming was younger than me, and I'm like, he on some real manipulative stuff. You know, I want to be here for when she get here to do the thing, but I guess it all worked out because she ended up being his wife. They doing their thing now. She seemed to love it, so to each his own, right? But I was like, yeah, I got my stuff packed. Well, I think I packed my stuff up that night, you know, had my stuff ready. I was just trying to think how I was about to get up out of there without, you know, having to have a confrontation with him. But, you know, there was like people from Ecuador working on building stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to wait till I hear them come up in here. So, you know, if stuff get weird, somebody going to be a witness, you know. So as soon as I hear them, I get out, you know, come out. And the whole time, you know, he's saying, like, he see things, he know things, you know, this and that. I go knock on the door. Bro, talk about who is it? Who is it? It's me. I'm the only one. I'm the only one up here with you other than the workers. No, it wasn't that he said who is it because the workers was there. I said Tasha, and he gonna say who? Okay, you heard me now. I'm the only girl up here. I don't know who else you thought it could be. Anyway, so he come to the door trying to explain to me that, you know, he was only acting like that because he took on her energy from all that stuff she brought up in there. You know, that he was paranoid. She had brought all that weird energy in there, recording him and stuff. And that's what this was like. It was all playing out from, you know, everything that she had brought up in the camp. And I'm like, bruh, you supposed to be helping us with our issues, and you can't deal with your own. Not to say, you know, because everybody, even helpers, take on stuff, but you should be able to process through it a little better than this. That's what I felt. So I'm like, yeah, I'm about to roll up out of here. And so he was like trying to talk me out of it, you know, saying like that happens sometimes because he took on her energy, and that we can work through this and just stay and give it some more time, da da da. And I'm like, bro, no, I'm good. So I'm going to head on out. And then he got real like, he ain't gonna help me, you know, because at first he was like, he had our phones and everything. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need my stuff. And he was like, well, you know, if you just wait a little bit, you know, I'll help you get your ride back or whatever, da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, no, I heard the word, it's time to go. So I'm gonna just figure it out on my own. So I walked up out to the street, you know, he gave me my stuff back. He was Saudi. I walked up to the street, and, you know, I could get around, but, you know, I couldn't really communicate with the people up there. So I'm trying to tell him I'm trying to go back to the airport. And he acted like he don't understand, but we got there, you know, that clearly I got my luggage, I'm trying to go, you know. So he started driving me, and we driving, and I'm like, it didn't take this long to get from the airport. It was a nice little ride because we was in the middle of nowhere, but it didn't take this long to get to the airport, right? So I'm like, now I'm thinking, talking to God, like, don't let this man kidnap me. I done got from one situation to another. Lord, please don't let this man kidnap me, because now I don't know where he's taking me. The airport was like 45 minutes out. I feel like I've been in this car for about an hour and a half. So he ended up taking me to an airport. It was just another airport around the way out the way, you know. But they had a flight back, you know, so whatever. You know, I had to stay there for a little bit, but they had a flight back, and he took me to where I needed to go. So I got him his money and was in the airport ready to come home. And the girl that was there before, she had a backup phone. See, she was smart, but she was already in this. You know, she knew better. When you know better, you do better. Okay. So she had a backup phone, and she like friended friended me on social media before she left. So I get to the airport and I calling her like, girl, last night went wild. I'm telling her everything. I'm like, this is crazy. She like, yeah, girl, da 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 da. She catching me up on what was real because we couldn't really talk because, he was like ear hustling, talking about he had things. Maybe he was recording this. I don't know what was going on, but he knew more than he should know. Just, because I also got gifts, okay? God be showing me stuff. I be hearing stuff. I be knowing what's going on. You better confirm it, God. Let him know. I also got gifts, and it don't be that clear, okay? He ain't gonna tell you the whole conversation back and forth. Boy was spying on us, okay? So she's sitting there talking. She telling me all her situation. She talking about she done talked to somebody else that was there and all the craziness. And I'm like, dang, that is wild, And I'm like, dang, we trying to get healing. We trying to do all this stuff. And people just keep playing over it. Like, just keep on playing over righteousness, God, pure living. Like, we're going to have to do our own thing. So, maybe that's why I start coming in my mind to what I needed to be working on or whatever. But anyway, back home, I get into another situation that I had been dwindling in before I left, but it had got real crazy too. It had got real crazy too, You be trying to look for the one and they try to look for one of, so I fell into a situation like that. I'm like, Lord. But luckily when I came home, my family, they friends of mine, but they family had let me stay with them. They had got a new house, and that's when I started my YouTube, right? So God had talked to me about, kind of making the YouTube to reach out to people that were struggling like I was struggling. I don't know that I shared all of this before, though. You got time to process, okay? I had to process all that because that was my dumb decision making. I made all those choices, out here talking about some YOLO. And God, thank you for keeping me, because I could have been there in any of those situations. Lord. Oh God, I thank you. Okay, so come back here, trying to, get my life together, trying to work things out, trying to figure out where I'm going wrong now. And I know this is a long video, y'all, but for those who stuck with me, I hope that it is doing something for you, helping you work through stuff, helping you not make decisions that you shouldn't be making. Because God is the only thing that's going to fix it. God is the only one that can fix it. And God has constantly been with me in it all. I was saying I was feeling loveless, abandoned, neglected, broken. But God takes the broken and does something miraculous. Like, I came from all of that thinking that I could not find love. Like, I wouldn't know it here. And not that my siblings don't love me and stuff like that, but the love that we were raised in is not the love I knew I was supposed to have. So we didn't even know how to love each other correctly because of how we were taught love. And I was just talking to God like, I just know that there's something better here for me. There's no way you're going to leave me down here, getting me healthy to live a long life. To just be struggling, And I got a job, working for the city. And things started turning around, but still personally I was struggling, I was still dealing with the guy. And his fairy tale living, and I was just like, Still drinking, still smoking, still doing a lot of things. And, I found me a place and was getting back on my feet, getting everything figured out, setting my ambiance. I was still in the conscious way of living. I was doing my meditation and burning my sage and doing yoga and doing those things to try to relieve some of the stuff off of me and focus on other things than the stress and the pain of things. I had got with my husband and we were trying to figure out what we were trying to walk into because we hadn't seen it, so we were struggling. And just obedience. Nobody can change what God already set you in. Let me say that. Nothing can change what God already set you in. But me being slowly obedient to God, me slowly changing things to be like, I'm gonna start cutting these things back. And I cut them back until I didn't want it no more. Just until I wasn't craving for it. Because people will say, oh, I'm just smoking weed, I'm not addicted to it, or I'm just drinking for fun, I'm not addicted to it. But to not have it would send me in a little like, dang, I need a blunt. Man, y'all stressing me out, I need a blunt, instead of being able to process through whatever was bothering me, So, I was addicted to it. And, slowly, it took it away from me. God took it away from me. And I was praying that, like, God, take the taste away from me. Take the habit away from me. Take the urge for it away from me, because I want to focus on what you're trying to talk to me about. But I do be distracted. And slowly but surely, God worked on me with it till I was fine without it, And then this past year, I came off my job, and God was like telling me things He wanted me to work on, and I started working on those things, and still struggling personally. That's been my biggest struggle with personal relationships. Until it all came to a head where I was like, nothing I can do is going to get me in a situation, because I heard God and I was speaking to God, but I'm wanting to help Him. I'm wanting to help God. Like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let me see what I can do to get us there. And God, like, I'm God. I don't need your help. I'm just trying to give you a heads up in the direction I'm trying to move, so you don't completely keep trying to go in the opposite direction, And God just started flushing me with what He was trying to do, like just pouring it on me. And it really didn't start fully coming to fruition until I got back on the plane to come home, because I had left. I got back on the plane to come home, and God just started flooding on me like, you're struggling so hard because you're trying to do it your way. You are struggling with everything because you keep trying to put your hand on it, when I said I got my hand on it. Like, leave it to me. You tell me what's wrong and leave it to me to fix it. And you keep on trying to do it your way. And that's why your feelings keep getting hurt. And that's why it's not working out. And that's why you keep sad and crying and going through roller coasters, because you get up, you turn to me, you feeling up about it, you feeling sure, you saying you trusted me, and then you take it back. You take back the problem, try to fix it yourself, and go crashing down, And I just gave it to God. Like, when I was coming back, I missed my flight and I ran into a woman in the airport. And she ended up giving me a ride back home. Her daughter came and got her because she missed her flight too. And she ended up bringing me back home. And when I went to give her the gas money, she was like, just come to church on Sunday. And I hadn't been to nobody's church and I don't know how long, But she asked me to go to church. And even though me and my husband, who was my fiance at the time, was in turmoil, well, I don't even know if we were considered fiance at the time, because when I left, I kind of called that off. But he was hopeful when I came back, and I'm like, well, let's not talk about it till church. That's what I kept on telling them. Let's not talk about it till on Sunday. We'll talk about it on Sunday. That's what I kept telling them. And when we went to church, she just began to speak so much life over us. Like, we had never had nobody pray over our relationship. Never had nobody ask God. I mean, other than me, I was asking God, but nobody to pray with us, And she just started praying over our relationship. And speaking of who I would be as a wife and who he would be as a husband. And I just felt the Holy Spirit hit me. And even though I had had my relationship with God, I hadn't felt that in so long. And I had felt it as a child, but I had lost it somewhere. Lost it in my decision making. Lost it in the pain that I had now taken over and internalized. And when the Holy Spirit washed back on me, got back into me, I couldn't, look at the sun coming back. I couldn't do anything but try to do right, do my best. And I just told God, like, I surrender whatever it is that I'm holding on to so tight. Because I need you. I need you in this. And when we came back out of the church, Eric had the ring in the glove box and gave it back to me and said, don't put it back on if you don't mean it. But I knew that he was my husband. And that we just had to figure out whatever it was, We just had to figure it out and talk to God about it and work it out, And our wedding date didn't even change. I mean, we were originally supposed to be married in November. We didn't marry then, but the wedding date that we had set for the summer, we just went on ahead with it. And, we had started doing our counseling, and even though the original person that we were supposed to be having do it, it didn't work out. The pastor that had invited us to church took over the counseling, and she married us. And ever since then, God has just been taking things and working things, and even things that are going bad, I'm able to see the beauty in knowing it. I'm able to see the beauty in being able to address it and change it in myself. Because for so long, I was waiting on somebody from outside of me. I'll meet the person that would change me, or change my situations, or change what was going on, to allow me to feel that love. And God, like, no, I'm pouring into you daily. Like, you have to start seeing you differently. You have to start moving differently. You have to start working things differently. You got to start not speaking over things in a certain way. You have to start Not letting people influence you, but you be the influence of light. Like, you have to start being that and changing things around. And I had known that in the prior years. I was speaking encouragement, making those videos and doing those things. But I would disappear because when I would feel down, I didn't want to give the negativity, but it was dishonest. It was disingenuine to be like, well, yeah, I'm only light. I'm only sunny days, and it was, yes, disingenuine. So, but God has worked it out for me that it's my authentic now. It's not disingenuine, because even when things bother me, I'm able to say, like, that's not about me. That's somebody going through whatever they going through, and it made them talk to me this way today, or it made them move around me like this, but it has nothing to do with me. Like, God has given me a peace and a joy that no man can shake. Like, even when warfare is going on, like, I get up, I rebuke that. we not speaking that into my day. I don't believe that about myself. God is showing me and revealing to me who I am, and I believe God. I truly believe God. So I know this was a long video, and if you stuck to the end, I just pray that it did something for you. I pray that God gets the glory from it, because God took a little girl that was molested, that felt so alone from a child, that didn't know her worth, that was abandoned and neglected, that was so broken. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And God just said, give me it. Just come to me daily. Just start a relationship with me. Build your relationship back up with me. I want to talk to you daily. You talking about you ain't got nobody to talk to. Talk to me. Talk to me daily and know who I am and who you are to me. Let me show you who I created you to be and how I see you. He took all of those things that had happened to me and said, let me use you for something beautiful. There are so many people struggling with the things that you have already lived. And look at the glow I've given you. Look how you're able to smile and laugh and know love. God made me a wife. And it's turned it around that I think twice before I speak. He's teaching me right now how to speak life into the things I want to see. Cultivate them. Even the children that my husband has brought into my life. How to ask for forgiveness when I'm wrong. How to be a love I never knew. There was nobody else that could teach me that but God. He said the enemy thought he had you. You had just fell into the trap. That's why those things was happening. He was trying to just get you to feel all of the worst things, so you could just be okay with being wrong. But God said she mine. And if she answer it, watch what I do. We have to know who we are to God and seek God, seek a relationship with God, seek God's love. It's the only true unconditional love we'll ever know. Because we're flawed. We're flawed as beings. We're always going to let each other down. God just turned that thing around for me. And I have so much joy. And I just want to speak life into anybody that's struggling, feeling loveless, neglected, broken, abandoned, that you're not out here alone. God is right there with you, keeping you alive, providing for you, just keeping you safe enough to turn back and look up and let it flow back into you. Allow God to get back into you. And everything will slowly work out. God has healed things in me that I thought I would die with. Burdens that I was carrying that I thought would keep me out of marriage, keep me from being a mother, keep me from being who I knew I was, because I let the things people were speaking over me, I started taking them on as an identity that didn't belong to me. And God turned all of that around. Right now I'm on a cleanse, eating raw. I hope I'm glowing to y'all. I feel I'm glowing to me, you know. We're gonna do this thing for 30 days. And that's just God. God, like, I need you to be different. I need you to be different. You keep on falling back into old ways, old habits, old tasks. But the reason that I keep showing you this is because it's for you. You keep falling into things because you're like, why they get to do that and why they get to do that? Sometimes things is just for you, and you got to be obedient to it. No matter if everybody else doing the complete opposite around you. Because it's for you and your story and your life and how you're supposed to shine. I know what I deserve. I know what you deserve. I love y'all.